So what problems did you notice you were having then? So it sounds like if you had that prompt and they knew what the how meant, you told us that you didn't feel like these writings were as well as they could be done.
No.
So why do you think that they fell short?
I think their proof was really skimpy. Their proof oftentimes didn't prove anything. The organization and structure was still an issue and a problem. Grammar issues were an issue. This was the first drafts, prior to them redoing, like us going over, fixing, bumping up, putting in a final draft.
Okay, so what I hear you saying is though that you did do a sample before you did this one. Did they have that straw model to refer back to?
Kept on the board, it was on Blackboard.
So if you had that straw model on Blackboard, then why do you feel like the structure still wasn't there then?
I'm not sure. We've been going over structure the entire year, so I'm at a loss of why they can't follow it. First hour cannot follow the structure. They're better with it now. This is our first writing in the quarter, so by now with the other writings, they've done a lot better. Like for this one in particular, they were still all over the place.
Okay, so with that first one that you had them do, that model, did they receive feedback on that, either peer feedback or feedback from you?
The model we did together in class,
Okay,
and
so
so
you
we
had that
kind of
model.
verbally as we went.
Okay.
So
Because
they
I kinda
didn't have
asked-
to do any writing, you did the writing.
Right, so it's kind of like, how do we begin on RA, an RA, so that's our topic sentence. So we built the intro paragraphs together.
Okay, so
So we had that plugged in with the
Okay.
format, so that was already mostly done for them.
Okay, so y'all developed the model together.
Mhm.
You put the model on Blackboard is what I'm
Mhm.
hearing you saying, and this was their first attempt
Mhm.
at using it. So my question to you is, do you feel like the problem was that this was their first attempt? Or do you feel like the problem is they didn't refer back to the model? Which one do you think it is?
Well, I think it was really a combination of both, because I think that this was prior to us going over how to be more effective with peer editing. We did do a peer edit, but it was so they weren't giving accurate feedback or, feedback that was helpful for them to fix. And I think that there's just a lack of paying attention to detail with going back and self-assessing between the strong model and the homework.
Okay, now, did you have, I heard you say that you, this was kind of their first attempt at giving the peer feedback to one another. What have you done to help them to be able to verbalize what they need to say, or to write out what they need to say? Because I know for my first block, it's really hard for them to say what needs to be said once they see something. Have y'all gone through anything where they have to practice, or you've shown them, or have taken apart a paragraph and shown them, okay, let's take this paragraph. What can we see in this paragraph that is not strong, that is lacking? What have we talked about before?
So basically, they've either had two students stand up in front of the class and model it,
Model.
or either you and a student model it. Have you tried either one of those approaches? Or have you just simply said, give feedback with just those words? Is that what
We
you're
did.
asking, Wendy?
Yeah.
Yeah, we did the give feedback for this one. Yeah, for the other one, we tweaked the peer, we talked about.
But what we're asking is have you ever modeled how to give the feedback or your expectations? Or have you literally just said, give feedback?
We did start with the second writing, so not for this one.
You modeled it
Yes.
on what your expectations for feedback were.
Yes, they had phrases, we had like a mock, back and forth for the students.
Okay,
watched and-
but you didn't do it with this
No,
one.
right.
So do you feel like that you probably should have done it with this one then?
We could have, yes.
Okay. So once you got these writings and you saw that they were not up to par, is that what made you decide to do that?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, that was a driving factor for changes that I had to make for the second. and third
Okay,
writing.
so Did they do a bump up with this writing or just the next writing?
Just for the next writing, we applied those.
So the first draft of the next writing, was it better than this was?
Yes.
Okay, why do you think it was better? What do you think, what contributions do you think led it to be better just overall?
With the more okay, with this one in particular, I took some of the writing and I posted on the board, and we went through, we spent an entire class fixing some of the ones that I received as a final, as the draft for this. So I went through and made corrections, we fixed awkward wording, we fixed organization stuff, we fixed grammar, and I went through the entire draft. And I posted the example that we fixed in class to Blackboard. And then for the next writing, I had them study it, look at it prior to starting the next for organizational things. And then we went through and built the first paragraph together for the second one. And then I reminded them of some things from the model. And then for each individual paragraph, I had them do a peer edit after each paragraph.
So when did the modeling of the peer edit come in?
As for the first time that we went through the first paragraph.
Okay, so you modeled the expectations.
Yes.
So you don't feel like it was the writing prompt itself that caused the writing not to be where it was? It was probably more or less that we didn't model the peer feedback
Yeah, I would say. so.
or put that emphasis on how much they should be using the strong model.
Right. I
So-
would say it's more with my delivery with them at the beginning, because with the prompt itself, it's consistent with prompts that they're seeing on benchmarks.
So the prompt
And
is
so-
not the problem, the prompt was you setting the expectation for
Yes.
them and maybe doing a model for them.
Yes.
That's what I hear.
Mhm.
Okay. So we've done about 3 or 4 writings since this
Since
one.
this, yeah.
Have you seen a progression in their writing? Or do you see them standing still? Or do you feel like it's wobbling depending on who the student is?
It might wobble for some students, but on an average, most are using and applying it.
Okay.
So for the average student.
Using and applying the model or using and applying the feedback? Or both?
Both.
Okay.
So, for the one that we did today, our feedback will be tomorrow morning, because they wrote all class today with their problems.
So my question about the feedback would then be, is it just they're going with gut or are they using the rubric to give the feedback?
They each have a copy of the rubric. They've all they've all held that. And so they're supposed to refer to the rubric as they do the grading for each.
So like for
one.
my kids, I have them have to give a comment for each bulleted point from the rubric.
Okay,
Do you have them give a comment for each bullet, or you just have them comment on what they feel like is the weakest and the strongest?
okay. What I've had them do was I had them either highlight or circle, give the grade for each bullet.
Okay.
And then, overall, I've told them to tell them 2 weaknesses that they need to improve on and 2
Okay.
strengths that they have.
So maybe
Overall.
for this one, since we're so close to benchmark, make them give feedback for each bullet.
Okay.
Instead of picking those 2 and 2 like we do, maybe the feedback needs to be more hard-nosed this time, since we're
Right there.
right here before benchmark. And that might take a whole class period of them typing it up to written and then going to verbalize it to them.
Right.
But if they're forced to give a comment for each one, I feel like also, I don't know if you've seen this, Wendy, but in forcing them to analyze it that much, it's
Yeah.
making them look at their writing much more.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, like for my second block, I noticed today, like this has been the most amazing day as far as looking at their feedback. When I went into the blog for the new writing that we're doing, and I looked at the kind of feedback they're giving, the quality of feedback that they're giving, I was blown away. And, I kind of asked myself, okay, well, why is second block doing it and not first block? Fourth block is hovering there where they're close. They're giving some decent feedback.
So is it because you modeled your expectations?
This is the thing though, I modeled it for all of my classes.
In the same manner.
Exact same manner.
So but this goes to show teachers though, that not all kids learn the same way, so you're gonna have to
Right.
find another way to model it for your first block.
So this is what I was thinking. Because first block still, even with having their rubric
Uh-huh.
and having the wording to pull out.
Right.
And I've broken it down for them and I
Right.
told them, okay, what this means is really this.
Okay,
Because they don't understand some of that language off the radio.
right, some of the academic
Um,
vocabulary.
Yeah, we've done that.
They still can't process it. So what I was thinking is since my second block can give such great feedback, if they can possibly, my second block can maybe go in and give my first block that feedback through the blog, so they can see, number one,
I wonder,
what that strong feedback
if it
sounds
would be
like.
possible though, for you to split your time with the second block teacher, and you have them come into first
See,
block,
that's what I was hoping I
because,
could do.
you know what I know it would be a lot of kids in the room, but if y'all spread that across 2 blocks, y'all still both would get all your time. You still get all your time, but I feel like someone's sitting with me
them,
and
like
going
a
over
peer
with me.
tutor on them.
Who is their second block?
Their second block is Tashelle.
Well, with Tashelle being out, this might be the perfect opportunity for maybe you to walk to math real quick and see. You're not taking away from math time and they're not taking away from your time. Then that 30 minutes, is there something she could present to all the kids? For them to walk over?
Yeah.
Is there a bell ringer that they could all go in there and do? Or, because we've been talking about how close reading should be cross-curriculum, would they benefit and bring that over to math? This could be something that we could maybe try.
Because yeah, I mean, that's kind of what I was thinking the other day. You know, it would be really great if I could just have all my second block
Come in the
come
first
in
block.
for my first
I
block
would,
class.
I would attempt to try to do that. I mean, even if it was just giving feedback on one paragraph. Tell the
Something.
kids, pick your paragraph. Do you want character, setting, or plot? And do it
Because
like
for that
that.
first block, if I'm looking at their feedback, because they tried with this last,
Mhm.
with the one that we did
Right.
before, the boy in the striped pajamas, they tried.
Okay,
It was unsuccessful.
yeah,
And it was to the point where I took it and I went over, you know, each of the layers.
right,
Here's our model. Now, let's stop.
okay.
Go back to your partners.
So,
Look for that stuff.
right. So I think
Too
we've got a
much more.
solution for what you can do. And I think for you, what we can do
Mhm.
is, they have to make a comment for every bullet.
Okay.
Not just highlight the number, but
Yeah.
give a reason for that number. And even
That's what I
the
told
boards,
them to do.
they have to give
Maybe
comments
a score
about why it was a
and
4.
why.
Okay.
Yeah, and for me, I think for me, it's my first block.
Mm-hmm.
I've just got to get some of those who can be mini teachers to walk around and give feedback. Like maybe get them to speed up on their writing a little bit so they can walk around and give feedback. Because I think the lower ones, when I'm asking them to give feedback, they're doing it, but they don't understand that academic vocabulary to
Right.
do it.
And see, I don't have enough